Hello, this is Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits, the only classic hit station in the country. I'm Louise Kaunisella. After the announcement made by the Prime Minister, Vorenge Bainimarama, on the lifting of the ban on sports activities and sporting events, the Skipper Cup will be the first rugby union competition held in the country. And I'm sure, everyone must be really excited about this. My guest today to tell us all about it is the Fiji Rugby Union's Manager Operations, Saleh Sorovaki. A warm welcome to Speak Your Mind.
Luis, it's great to be here.
Fantastic. Now, before we start off with the Skipper Cup competition questions, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, my name is Saleh Sorovaki, obviously. I come from Kandavo. I've been employed at Fiji Rugby Union for the last 11 years. For 9 years, I was looking after our development program. And for the last 2 years, I've been looking after operations. So, as rugby is growing and evolving over the years, so the scope of work, it gets bigger and bigger as we move along.
True. Thank you very much. Now, can you also please tell us briefly how and when the Skipper Cup competition began? Maybe just a little history.
Okay, the Skipper Cup is probably a continuation of our provincial rugby competition. Every year, or every so-called segment of years, we've always had different sponsorships. So they've been called different competitions, but it's still the provincial competition, which began way back in 1963.
Okay.
It was 50 years after the Fiji Rugby Union was formed, so it was the Golden Jubilee, having that provincial competition. And then for the last 7 years, we have been fortunate enough to have been sponsored by CJ Patel, and hence the name of the competition, Skipper Cup. So with CJ Patel, they've been with us for the last 7 years.
Thank you very much. So what do you think of the new normal, expected of us because of the coronavirus pandemic? How will it affect the players?
Well, this is something that we obviously had not planned for. And, we are very grateful to the government for taking a very strong stance in trying to control and manage that, and closing our borders. So while we've managed to contain it in Fiji, there's still the odd cases of patients that have come in from abroad. So,
Yeah.
But in terms of community level on the ground, from a rugby perspective, we've done, we've had to adhere to what the government is putting in place, and also having to adhere to our international body, which is World Rugby, and they've put out a course which we started doing in April of this year.
Okay.
And also keeping in mind, as the restrictions were being followed, also from a rugby perspective, we've had to stop all games for the last 4 months.
I know it must be quite awful for the players. So just maybe some of the rules that are expected from the players, for example.
Okay, we've been, during the lockdown, we've been liaising with our provincial unions. There's 24 provincial unions altogether. 8 playing in the Skipper Cup, which begins on Saturday, and 16 will begin on the 22nd of August, which is sponsored by Vodafone. Over the course of the 4 months, we have been regularly communicating with our provincial unions on what they need to do.
Okay.
Well, first and foremost, we have to adhere to the advisories given by the government through the Ministry of Health. We also have our duty to, as rugby administrators, as coaches, as team managers and players, there's an online course that you have to do, players included. This is a compulsory requirement for all our administrators and all the rugby people that are out there. So, from the sport of rugby, we're doing what we can.
You're doing your best,
yes,
I suppose.
We are
yes.
doing what's required of us.
Yes.
Not only as rugby people, but first and foremost as Fijians.
Yes.
Because we are guided by our government and all its advisories which have to be followed, and that has been communicated very regularly to our provincial unions.
I mean, it's going to be hard because I noticed that it's a habit for, rugby players all over the world. You always see them spitting and blowing their noses and everything like that. So, I mean, they're probably not going to be allowed to do that now. And I mean, I feel sorry for them, actually.
Well, I mean, it is something that that you can let them know about, because normally when their body, when they start playing, they forget all about that. But it's something that they have to be aware of. During the game of rugby, contact is part of the game. So people will be tackling each other, will be in the vicinity, very close to each other, sweat and all. But we've also put in mind for every facility, there's only one point of entry. So,
okay.
And there will be a thermal gun at the point of entry of every of the 4 venues this Saturday. So that's what we've been working with the local Ministry of Health, with the facility owners, and with Fiji Rugby Union as well.
Okay, so the players as well, they probably have to have their fever tested too.
Well, we've advertised in our terms of participation or the rule or our rule book that everyone has to still, cough on the bend of their elbows. If you don't feel well, stay home.
Yeah.
And no spitting. Keep washing your hands for 20 seconds or more.
Right.
So all those things remain intact, apart from just being allowed to play.
It must be hard. Hey, but we'll be back shortly on Speak Your Mind. This is Gold FM, only the classic hits, your only classic hit station in the country. Be sure to tune in. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. I do hope you're enjoying the show so far. We have the Skipper Cup competition coming up, and this is something I know the people must be really looking forward to. And my guest today to tell us all about it is the Fiji Rugby Union's Manager Operations, Saleh Sorovaki. So, Saleh, how is the fitness level of our rugby players after not playing for a while because of COVID-19?
Well, Louis, that remains to be seen. We have to wait for the players to take the field on Saturday. But, the government lifted some of the restrictions on the 21st of June. So from rugby perspective, player welfare is the utmost important. So we have to wait for 4 to 5 weeks from that lifting of restrictions. So we give players about 4 weeks minimum of preparation period of return to training protocols before they can actually start playing. So all the games have been, all the provincial unions, all the players have been advised that you cannot play unless you have at least 4 weeks of minimum of preparation. So, you said not playing for 4 months. That is a long time.
True.
And even then, most of the players have been doing their own training within their own training spaces.
That would be good, I think. I mean, they can train by themselves just to keep their fitness in a good level. But maybe some probably suffered with a gain of weight gain, maybe. How everyone was eating like mad. Even me, I was eating.
I think that's the administrators to put on weight over the 4 months. But
yeah,
we're still trying to keep in contact with all our players. That hopefully this lockdown will end, and when it does, be ready to play. So I mean, they've been given that, and over the course of the 4 months, a lot or most of the players have been training.
Yeah, I mean, they must be excited.
Wow.
What are they feeling right now?
They
after
are
that,
so excited to get back onto the field of play. Even us as administrators and just the rugby-loving public, they can't wait to just go to the game on Saturday and watch their heroes turning out for their provincial unions.
I know. I mean, I can imagine. For entertainment, there's not much entertainment now. So I mean, for the Skipper Cup, that is like the rugby game. So I mean, I'm sure everyone's
and
looking for that.
it is the elite provincial competition for Fiji, and what adds to to the flavor, to the excitement of this weekend is that a lot of players who are playing overseas and could not go back to their respective clubs,
Stuck here.
they will be turning out for their provincial unions.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, because I was actually going to have that question for you further on, but since you've mentioned it already, maybe you might like to reveal some of the big names.
Yeah, I mean, well, the overseas players, should they want to play for their unions, they still have to get their releases from their overseas clubs.
Okay, so that's how it works.
Yeah,
then.
so that safeguards them, safeguards Fiji Rugby, and
Okay.
should there be any injuries, the club is still liable to pay for that. So, but then rugby is a contact sport. You do not want any injuries, but then these are the things you only train for.
Okay.
Yeah, but you cannot really promise anyone that they're not going to get injured.
Okay.
But they still have to get their releases from their clubs, and they have to be registered for the union that they last played for
Okay.
before they left for their overseas contracts.
Because I know Kunatani is still here, is he?
Kunatani is still here. There's a lot of players that are here, but we've only received about 4 releases so far.
Okay, so
There's Napoleon Inalang, who may turn out for Nandronga this weekend. He's been playing in
Wow.
France for a very long time, and last year he's been playing in Paraguay. So there's a few players who are here that have been playing overseas prior to the lockdown.
oh, that'd be really exciting match indeed. So anyway, just moving on, you might like to also highlight to the rugby fans of what's expected of them as spectators of a game. I know we had the soccer and there was a bit of
Yes.
stuff that they were not following. So for the Skipper Cup competition,
Well, the same thing as as we have prompted. Our fans, Fiji Rugby Union looks after the players, because we have a women's team, 2 women's team playing,
oh, I
There's
forgot
an
to ask
under
you that. 2
19.
women's, lovely.
and then there's the senior team. So every venue this Saturday, all the 4 venues will be hosting 3 games. So there's a
Okay.
women's game, under 19, and the senior. But for the spectators, they've also been advised, if they are not feeling 100%, please do stay home. We've also advised all the unions that are hosting and the facility owners to have tents outside for that single entry point, for the thermal gun to be present, and should anyone have a temperature of 38 degrees or above, they have to be sent back home, or build a place where they can stay there and wait for their friends or their families to take them home.
Okay, so social distancing, okay, for the seating and also in the ground, that could be a challenge as well.
Yes. We found out with soccer last week that people were not obeying what the facility providers had put in place. They've clearly marked the 1 meter spacing, so people were still very, not very obedient to
or
that
maybe
respect, but
they just didn't know,
well, they were probably too excited just because
Okay, right.
the sport is starting again. But for
Yeah.
us, we've asked the ground announcers to keep reminding the crowd to please observe that spacing on the stand, even on the embankment. And I know that if you come with your family, probably stay within your family. I know a Fijian family can go up to 100 or 200. So, but we are trying to make sure that they stay within a manageable number of, say, 10 or less.
Okay.
As long as we see some spacing within the grounds, within the stands, that's. But it's something that we will manage on the day.
Well, I hope people who are listening in today and on the delayed coverage on FBC TV that will be shown later, that we create some awareness to keep that physical distancing. We need to get used to it and practice it.
Yes.
But yes, we'll be back soon on Speak Your Mind. This is Gold FM, only the classic hits. Thank you for your good company. We're back on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is live on radio. That's right, on your only classic hit station in the country, Gold FM. But if you're interested in maybe asking a question, you can call 3220-906 or 7732-906. So we've spoken about how rugby fans really need to be following the social distancing rules. That is, I suppose, probably the biggest challenge, keeping apart. And so you have said that you will control that by having announcements over the PA system, which is a really good idea, I think.
Well, we will try and announce it on the day, probably put out posters as well that, that this still needs to be followed, whether we're at the gym, training, or even at the game on Saturday. So, we are also asking the public to be very observant in this regard. And, we've also asked the police for their support at all the 4 venues that we're playing in on Saturday.
Okay.
So also they will be briefed on what to keep an eye out for come Saturday.
Yes, sounds good to me. So now, when does the Skipper Cup competition actually begin? You've just mentioned, I think it's Saturday?
Saturday, the
Right.
25th of July.
Okay, so this Saturday, how many teams altogether will take part this year?
Okay, the Skipper Cup involves 8 teams. Normally the top 6 teams from last year's competition, and then plus the 2 finalists from the Vodafone competition. So that the 2 new teams coming into the Skipper Cup this year is Yasawa and Lotok. So they've been in the, they've been pushing very hard over the last couple of years to come up, and now they've earned their places in the Skipper Cup competition. So Lotok is coming to Nosori to play Netasiri on their first round on Saturday, while Yasawa is hosting Nandi at Churchill Park on Saturday as well. So those are very big games, and Tailevu is traveling along the King's Road to Navo to meet Namosi at Thompson Park.
Ooh.
And then we have the big one in Lawanga Park, Suva and Nandronga.
Okay, well, man, people must be so excited because finally we get some entertainment. Nightclubs closed, there's hardly anything to be done. So, I mean, I'm sure. But another thing is that you need to tell me about how many people can you allow into the ground? Is it 50%?
Well, 50% of the capacity of that ground. We've written to all the municipal councils, we've written to Fiji Sports Council, and they've given us the maximum numbers and the 50% number that is supposed to be at the field on Saturday. So all the unions know about this, all the facility providers know about this, and it's just the public and the fans who have to come and make sure that they follow these rules.
Okay, that's good. Now, I heard you earlier saying that they have to earn a place to be in the Skipper Cup. How do they do that?
Okay, this is the first competition, which is the Skipper Cup. 8 provincial unions. They play full 14 rounds, so it goes on for about 3 months. And then we have the Vodafone Vanua competition, which starts on the 22nd of August. That involves 16 teams. So these 16 teams are grouped into pools of 4 teams, according to their location, so they don't have to travel too far to play. They also play double rounds, so they play 6 games, but they start on the 22nd of August. And the 2 finalists, they will get their position come next year into the Skipper Cup competition, and the last 2 finishers in the Skipper Cup gets relegated to the Vodafone Vanua competition.
Oh, so that's how it works, because I'm not really a rugby person. I love
That's
watching it
okay.
for entertainment, though. I mean, of course, obviously. But what about the rest of the teams that normally take part in the Skipper Cup, like Northland and Rewa? Why are they not in the Skipper Cup this year?
Well, they were exactly the 2 teams that we talked about. They finished the 7th and 8th, unfortunately, last year.
Okay,
So they had
right.
to now be moved across to the Vodafone Vanua competition, whilst Yasawa and Lotoka have taken their place.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it will be interesting this Saturday, I think it is, Suva and Nandronga game, because Suva is the defending champion of the Skipper Cup.
Oh, that's right. And this was the Skipper Cup final last year.
Yes.
Suva and Nandronga, and also While Suva is the holder of the Skipper Cup, Nandronga is the holder of the Fairbrother Trophy.
Okay.
So these are two very good teams, two finalists from last year having a go with each other. So, and what makes it interesting, Louise, is that this weekend will be a double. Not both. The Skipper Cup is played right at the end of the 14 rounds, but the Fairbrother Trophy is at stake this weekend.
Okay, so wow, a lot of something so good for the fans to look forward to, eh? So, right, how many rounds of the Skipper Cup competition are there this year again?
14 rounds. They play 2 rounds, so home and away. So they host 7 games.
Oh,
They play away for 7 games. So hosting 7 games gives them an opportunity to earn some revenue for their provincial unions as well.
okay, so you said it lasts for 3 months, is that right?
Well, it starts on the 25th of July.
Yeah.
Our last game will be around the end of October sometime. So it's a long season.
Yes, very long season. But at least it'll make the guys get fit. Yeah?
Well, we hope that they, that they're happy for the amount of games coming up.
I mean, but that's the thing with Fijians. They just love rugby. I mean, just playing, it's so much fun to them. They can't wait, I bet. Anyway, we'll be back shortly on Speak Your Mind. This is Gold FM, only the classic hits. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. I'm Louise Kaunisela, and I hope you're enjoying the show, and you must be really looking forward to the Skipper Cup competition. Now, my guest, of course, is the Rugby Union's Manager Operations, Saleh Sorovaki. There's quite a lot of sevens players I've seen, Saleh, to feature in the Skipper Cup competition this year. Isn't that right? Who are they?
Okay, well, I mean, with this, the pandemic that the world had just gone through in the, beginning in March and probably still going now, now they've had to cancel all the international, the World Rugby 7 series. So, and that frees up all the sevens players that have been taking part in the 7 series. So, you have the likes of the captain, Melinda Nalangi, who's turning up for Suva, Thierry Tamani, Levi Kanikonda, Tuimamba, and Sevu Motenadang and his brothers are, we've heard
All
that
three
they're
of them.
turning out for Nandronga, and Boti too probably turn up for Nandi. So, and this adds to the excitement, to the flavor of this weekend. So,
Most definitely.
the fans are in for a treat. Not only that they, rugby starting again, but then really there's a high caliber of players that are coming in.
Yes, really. And it's amazing how they can play both rugby union and sevens.
It is the same game, but just lesser numbers.
Okay.
But there's different fitness and science behind both games as well. With sevens you have a lot more space, so you need to be fitter. You have to run more, and
That's true.
It's only for 14 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas the 15th game, it's a bit long and gives you a chance to build pressure and then score points in the end.
Okay. So I believe you've had a meeting with the national sevens coach, Gareth Baber, and there are rules in place for the sevens players taking part in the Skipper Cup competition?
Well, as the head of the sevens program, Gareth meets with all the provincial coaches on a regular basis as well over the course of the last 4 months. They've been meeting with the coaches, the provincial union coaches, and asking them, probably just letting him know of his plans and see how the sevens boys may feature for some of the provincial union teams. But then the coaches have also indicated to Gareth that it does not guarantee his sevens players, getting a straight starting spot within their provincial team. So, it's a little bit of a give and take for the sevens players and also for the provincial teams.
Okay, but I think they really should be allowed to play because they need to keep fit as well. I mean, their sport, sevens, has come to a standstill, and that's pretty sad. Because, we have the World Series.
Well, the World Series has been cancelled for this year at least, and we still have the Olympic Games next year, so which we have to defend the gold medal. So it's still very important for these sevens players to still be involved in some sort of rugby, building up probably to the end of the year before they actually start their sevens training programs again.
Yep, that's true. So how much is the sponsor giving to the Fiji Rugby Union this year for the Skipper Cup? And maybe you could just give us a little breakdown of the funds.
Well, the 8 skipper unions, they get around, over 50,000 to sponsorship each from Fiji Rugby and through our sponsors of CJ Patel. So that's used for them to look after their games, to travel from wherever they are to the next position, the provincial union. So all that money is used to help the 3 teams that are touring on a given Saturday.
And that's a bit of an expense as well. I mean, nothing comes cheap, does it?
Well, that's right.
Everything adds up.
The cost of living keeps increasing every year. So.
So, okay, thank you very much. So, how much will the tickets cost to watch the Skipper Cup competition? I mean, it might be, I'm guessing, though, a little bit more because, 50%, you need to make money as well, right?
Well, at the end of the day, while the unions want to make money, the facility owners also keeping in mind that some of the fans coming in, may have just been made redundant from their workplaces. So it's a very we've put out a price for the Lawanga game is $30 on the bucket seats, $20 for the grandstand, and $10 for embankment.
That's not too bad.
This is for Suva and Nandronga game. So and children under 12 are free provided they come with an adult, and it's only for the embankment. So if they need to go up to the stands, they'll have to pay the full $20.
Yeah, well, I think that's not too bad. And where can they get the tickets? Obviously, at the gate.
At the gates on the Saturday.
Only at the gates?
We're still trying to.
That's a tricky one too, eh?
We're still trying to finalize that with the host, with the facility owners.
Okay.
So we do not want to. The thing is, the trick thing here is to not let people converge for a long time at one place.
Right.
So if we can, can assist in that by selling the tickets elsewhere, it would help on the day instead of people coming in, because with COVID-19, you do not want people segregating at a point for too long.
That's right.
So the quicker we get people through the gates, the better for us and the easier for us to manage the rules that have been put in place.
Yeah, and I suppose also if they do line up or gather at the gate, you need to get them to line up and stay apart.
Yeah, spacing, and
the spacing, that's the main thing.
It's like for big games, you get a very long queue. So and the gates will be open at around 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. So we're probably pleading to the public as well, when it opens, probably come and buy your ticket a bit early and then go and do your shopping and then come in later during the day after you've already bought your tickets.
Yes.
But again, having said that, it's something that we have not done before. So
true,
everybody
it's new.
new. Everybody's
Totally
looking
new.
forward to going through with it on Saturday, and hopefully we can manage it.
Yeah, we should. If you want the entertainment, obviously you need to practice social distancing, no spitting, no hugging, and all that. Just visit the Ministry of Health page, and I'm sure you will find out exactly what to do. But we'll be back soon on Speak Your Mind. This is Gold FM, only the classic hits, the only classic hit station in the country. Be sure to listen in for the best music. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits, and we're talking about the Skipper Cup competition. We haven't had any entertainment for a long while, so I'm sure people can't wait. And my guest, of course, in the studio with me today is the Fiji Rugby Union's Manager Operations, Sale Sorovaki. And, we were speaking about, you wanting people to, buy their tickets really early, maybe do their shopping and come back, just to keep, things going smoothly, following all the rules that we need to follow for, the prevention of COVID-19. And another thing came up in my mind, if you get them to buy their tickets first, then what about if they come with a high temperature? That's something to think about as well. So many things, like we've said, it's totally new.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's something, again, it's something new, and we can only best prepare for it. And I guess all the decisions will be made on the day. But everything that we're trying to do is to make sure that we limit making those decisions there and then. So, and there's one important thing too that we probably missed out, and that was for everyone coming into the games on Saturday. They have to download the Care Fiji app on their mobile phones.
Oh, seriously, they have to.
They have
Compulsory?
to, because in terms of contact tracing, because if somebody gets tested for high temperature, the app allows you to locate, to trace the numbers and the people that are around you on that day. So, and that's why it's very important for us Fijians to download this Fiji app, because it eases the efforts of contact tracing. So, and but if some of they don't have phones, there are forms that will be filled out at the gate should you be tested that your temperature is a bit higher than normal.
Oh, okay. So, this is just so totally new, and I'm wishing you the best of luck. But you really, it's good that we're having this talk back now, so at least they can be aware. You know what I mean?
Yes. We can only prepare for, it's almost like risk management as well, because the risk is still out there.
Exactly.
How can we as Fijians, as rugby people, as spectators and administrators manage that risk as best as we can?
We really have to. The magnitude of the COVID-19, it's a pandemic. And we're just so fortunate, Fiji, that we have only border quarantine cases right now. But look at the rest of the world. Look at the US. Look at India and Italy, UK.
It's
absolutely awful.
It's most unfortunate that some of the bigger nations have suffered more than we have, and we are, I guess, for that we are very thankful to the quick action and firm decisions by our government and the ministry in place, not to make those decisions back then, that we're able to do what we're doing now.
Yes. So they need to remember, if they have a smartphone, they just download the app.
They have to download the Care Fiji app. Yeah.
Right, and if you don't have it and you have a bit of a fever, you need to fill out a form.
Well, we'll make sure that you download your app then.
Okay, so, that's something really to stress. Okay. Yes. Now, what about the gate takings? Will the FRU share it with the host team?
Well, that's normally the unions, it goes to the unions' coffers.
Okay.
Except for the Suvanandra game, because it's a fair brother game, it's shared with the holders and the Fiji Rugby. It's always been the case from before.
Okay, so what other upcoming local competitions can rugby fans look forward to? Okay. Rugby 15s.
Well, the rugby, our domestic competition, people are hungry for some local content on our screens, and and this Skipper Cup is starting this weekend with the 8 teams involved, and then a month later, on the 22nd of August, we start our Vodafone Vanua competition. So that will involve 16 provincial teams as well over a 2-month period before they have their quarterfinals and semis and final as well, somewhere around October.
Excellent. Okay, before we finish off, you could maybe just highlight the venue and just everything before we finish off, just to be clear to the rugby fan who wants to come and watch the
Okay.
Skipper Cup. And also, you can also remind them how exciting it will be and why.
Okay, Vinaka, Luis, for this Saturday, everybody's talking about the Suva Nandronga game at Lawanga Park. That kicks off at 11 a.m. For the women, 1 p.m. for the under-19s, and 3:30 for the senior team. But there are two extra games, one at 9 o'clock, the Nandronga Stallions and the Suva Ambassadors. These are the development teams. And at 2:30, these are the golden oldies of Nandronga and Suva. They'll provide a bit of entertainment before
Most
before the
definitely.
big games. And that's
Yes.
at Lawanga Park.
Oh, great.
As I mentioned before, $30 on the bucket seat, 20 on the stand, and $10 on the embankment. Under 12 children are free, provided they come with an adult. And the other three venues are at Lautoka, Churchill Park, where Sawa will host Nandi. That kicks off at 11, 1, and 3.
All right.
The admission are $10, $7, and $5. Again, children under 12 are free. At Ratudakombo Park in Nausori, it's $10 and $4. And in Nauvoo at Thompson Park, it's $10 and $3. All children have to come, be accompanied by an adult.
Okay.
So those are the four venues this Saturday.
Wow, that's a lot. Well, I wish you all the best of luck. I hope everyone adheres to everything that you've highlighted, about downloading the Care Fiji app, social distancing, no spitting, no hugging. I mean, even the players, they have rules as well to follow. And, just lastly, why will it be so exciting to attend all these matches?
We've been under restriction for the last 4 months, and just getting out there with your family, just it's rugby to some people brings them happiness, and we've also noticed how most of our brothers and sisters and family members have been probably affected by COVID-19. With rugby, it's an avenue where everyone can come in as as a family, come in and enjoy the game, watch some of your stars play, go back home and just feel good about yourself on the day. So,
Yes.
we're asking all the fans and all the rugby followers, please come out in numbers and support your teams this Saturday, wherever you are, wherever you are close to. Please turn up and watch rugby this weekend.
Oh, and I'm sure that they'll love it. I mean, we've heard all the really good big guns who are going to be taking part as well. So, well, that's it now for Speak Your Mind, and I thank you so much for your time. And the Fiji Rugby Union's Manager Operations, Sale Sorovaki, Vinaka Vakalevu.
Vinaka Luis.
Best of luck. On Speak Your Mind, I do hope you enjoyed the program, and be sure if you're attending the Skipper Cup competitions, download the Fiji Care app and also adhere to the COVID-19 safety measures. And from me, Louise, look after yourself and look out for each other. Ni samo demanda.